we'll just start from the top. What is the point of the scene? And I'm asked that question constantly. A whole bunch of questions really that we have to then delve into once that question is asked. What's the point of the scene? Why does it exist? Is it to move the plot forward? Is it to reveal something about character? Is it and can it do both? Where does the scene exist structurally from a sequential order of things? In other words, if the scene exists, from a structural standpoint within the first 10 minutes of your movie, then the scene likely needs to reveal character. Because that's, sequence of scenes, the first sequence is meant to do such a thing from a formulaic standpoint. If the scene occurs near the end of the second act, near the low point, the scene's probably showing us or leading us toward a character's plot failure, how that character then is affected emotionally. So we want to be thinking about things from a structural standpoint as well. That's kind of an easy way of looking at it. Let's dive into some more specifics though, because, all of what I just said is still pretty conceptual, kind of at that conceptual meets structural standpoint. And I'm going to stay at the conceptual level a little bit, even though I'm talking about scene writing. And we'll work our way down into the specifics. But every scene is rooted in what a character desires or wants, a goal. And it's not just the overall story goal, find the treasure, escape New York, or whatever. That's plot. And of course, a scene has to do with plot sometimes, but your character has an emotional goal that is just as essential as the plot goal. Plus, your character has an emotional need that the character is unaware of needing. You must be able to define those three elements: plot, emotional desire and want, and the need that the character is unaware of. You have to define those three elements separately in order for them to live together throughout the overall story. If you don't do this kind of development work before you write your script, you won't know what engine drives each scene, and therefore what engine drives the entire story. That engine, meaning the emotional makeup of your characters. So before you ever write a scene, you need to define these three things at least: character flaws, wants, desires, beliefs, backstory; character need, of which he or she is unaware of needing; plot situation with a goal, and the kind of pursuit the character will be tasked with through that situation. So here's a made-up example. John is an ex-baseball player. He had a failed career because he was too proud and too stubborn to listen to anyone else's advice. He believed that he was already the best, never needed to improve or go through workouts or practice, etc. He holds resentment for anyone who is a part of his career because he puts the blame on everyone else but himself for that failure. His emotional goal and want is to be proven correct, that he didn't do anything wrong, that other people ruined his career. He wants praise and approval and justification and to be proven right. And his internal need, though, which he doesn't believe in or know that he needs, is to accept responsibility for his decisions and actions and own up to his past mistakes. From a conceptual standpoint, just looking at the story, which John will live in, we want to put John in a situation that will test all of his flaws and emotional goals or wants. We need to do this so that he finds his way to his emotional need, which again, he doesn't really know that he needs it. That means we place him within a plot situation that has a goal, which leads him on a pursuit to achieve that goal. Okay? That's pretty basic. His pursuit is going to be filled with obstacles, both physical and emotional, that inherently put him through tests and trials. This is every story ever told. In other words, the plot presents an opportunity for the character to grow and evolve. And if there's anything you learn from any webinar I ever give, ever, see if I can say ever again, it's that. The plot presents an opportunity for the character to grow and evolve. This is the perfect marriage of plot and character. The character just doesn't know that the situation that he or she will be in is that opportunity. You as the writer know it's an opportunity, but it even works in serialized TV. It's just over a much longer period of time, and maybe not necessarily traditional sitcoms, but half-hour comedies that are serialized. So let's just say, get back into John's story, that John has been forced to be a teacher of his daughter's theater class. He knows nothing about theater. The director of the class couldn't be more opposite of John in terms of, what she believes in, who she is, what she wants. He's been tasked to help the students prepare for a big performance and show before the Christmas holiday. This is his plot goal. Help the director prepare the kids for the performance, deliver an amazing, best show ever. His emotional want and his hidden emotional need doesn't change. We could arguably put this same character in any situation. We're just plopping this type of character within this particular type of situation. And because we know who John is internally, we can assume how he will act and react in virtually every scene we put him in and within this plot situation of teaching theater. So let's break this down a little bit, like I did earlier in terms of the checklist of project needs. Character flaws, wants, desires, beliefs, backstory. failed pro baseball player, which he blames on everyone else. He's proud, stubborn, resentful, know-it-all. He wants approval, praise, justification. Character need, of which he's unaware. Accept responsibility for decisions, actions, and the results of both. He needs to own up to his past and current mistakes. Plot situation with a goal, and then a kind of pursuit the character will be tasked with. John knows he needs to play a bigger role in his daughter's life, or else he'll lose her love and respect. He also knows that his wife will, or could very well fall out of love with him if he continues down this emotional path. So while this may seem emotional as opposed to plot related, it's related directly to the plot because John is presented with the opportunity to help teach his daughter's theater group as a way to be more actively involved in his daughter's life, while also getting them prepared for this big show. So how is this related to scene writing? The DNA. The little elements of what each character wants and is pursuing is going to be spattered throughout each scene that you write. So the character's personality and voice and beliefs, flaws, desires will drive how a character moves through a scene, what the character will say in response to someone else. It will define what a character does not say and why he will not say it. It'll show us how a character relates to another character's beliefs and desires, flaws, personality, in other words, relationships. It's also going to help shape one of the most important pieces of advice that I'm going to give you. A scene is structurally set up just like any long-form story. It has an act structure almost, if you really wanted to break it down. A scene has a goal set up, a misdirection or complication, and then a resolution or a climax. And the scene will move the plot of a story forward or reveal character information or a little bit of both at the same time. So if you look at a feature having a 3-act structure, each scene does as well. A beginning, middle, and end, to put it really plainly. The structured scene has momentum because a character has to pursue something. The scene itself has a goal, and not just an informational goal. That could be considered the writer's goal. But we don't want the audience to know that you, the writer, are trying to give us information. That obviously is the trick of we don't want to tell, we want to show. But that pursuit toward the goal of the scene is complicated, of course, by obstacles, which then leads the character to react from an emotional and usually flaw-based place, all of the brainstorms that we've already done, which then moves the scene toward its resolution. The character either achieves what he set out to achieve or doesn't. Someone wins the scene, in other words. And if we look at a scene as a battle or a fight, even if it's funny or lighthearted or loving or positively emotional, someone in the scene comes out on top. And in some cases, like a lot of Aaron Sorkin movies and scenes, a character dominates another character by being smarter or proving his or her point in a better way than the other character does. This happens along the way of pursuing the story's goal, obviously, but in our story's case, it's to deliver the best Christmas show ever. So it's all living within that construct. And this is at least how John views it. What actually needs to happen from a plot perspective is to connect with his daughter and achieve a fun, personally rewarding experience, regardless of whether or not the show's the best. Obviously, that sounds emotional, but plot and emotion are pretty much in the same boat here. But this becomes the writer's responsibility, ultimately, to never forget what the character actually needs. So it's up to us to put the character through the ringer, so-called, through difficult moments and scenes that will push the character to evolve and face up to those needs, or in other words, face up to his or her flaws. And almost always this happens through relationships, but definitely always with some specific goal in mind. So each story has a goal, but each scene has a goal as well. And there are no superfluous scenes. There's no throwaway scene. And a scene is not just an interior, dining room. That's a scene heading, but it's probably a moment within a larger overall scene. A scene can have multiple locations. It's just about the beginning, middle, and end of each scene, and you have to be able to define what the goal, purpose is from a character standpoint, from a plot standpoint. So I went through that really quickly. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, put it in the YouTube comment section on the ISA's YouTube channel. Let me know what your favorite scenes are, why you love those scenes so much. And we'll just have a fun little dialogue, pun intended. So that's it. No webinar this month, everybody, but we will be having one again in September, October, and then again, I believe we're going to do one in November. I'm not sure because of the Thanksgiving holiday kind of changes things up. Pretty wild that we're talking about Thanksgiving already. Anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. You'll see me again next month. And as always, keep working hard, keep writing, and I'll see you soon.